First Contact's price. The Aetherian Empire's arrival came on a Tuesday morning, announced not with the thunder of weapons, but with the subtle disruption of every quantum communication network on Earth. Their message arrived simultaneously on every device capable of receiving data, a simple statement of fact, delivered in perfect standard English. Your civilization has been identified as suitable for integration. The Aetherian Empire welcomes Earth into its sphere of influence. You have 30 solar days to prepare appropriate tribute and accept our terms of governance. In the United Nations Emergency Council chamber, Secretary General Maya Chen watched the holographic representation of the alien fleet holding position just beyond Mars' orbit. The ships resembled crystalline structures, their surfaces refracting sunlight in ways that made them appear both beautiful and utterly alien. She glanced at the others gathered around the table, representatives from Earth's most powerful nations and corporate entities, and allowed herself a small smile. "Well," she said, her voice steady, "it seems our ancestors' paranoia has finally been justified. How long until Project Archimedes is ready?" Director James Harrison of the Global Space Initiative consulted his neural interface. The final simulations completed 6 months ago. "We've been ready since then, just waiting for this moment. Though I don't think any of us truly believed it would come." The alien ships maintained their position, a silent reminder of their presence. They had arrived with impossible speed, using drive systems that Earth's public scientific community claimed were theoretical at best. But that wasn't entirely accurate. Humanity had simply been very careful about what knowledge they shared with their orbital surveillance systems. For 3 centuries, ever since the first radio signals suggesting intelligent life had been detected, humanity had prepared. Every major technological advancement, every architectural decision, every aspect of human civilization had been carefully designed around a single, secret purpose. The public believed they were witnessing the natural progression of human development. They weren't wrong, exactly, but they weren't seeing the whole truth either. "Begin the notification sequence," Maya ordered. "It's time our people learned what we've really been building all these years." Across Earth, hidden systems began to activate. In every major city, quantum computers that had been disguised as standard infrastructure nodes came online. The true purpose of the massive urban development projects of the last century became clear as seemingly solid buildings revealed themselves to be sophisticated machinery. The Aetherian fleet's sensors detected the energy signatures immediately. Their commander, High Admiral Vexthor, watched with mild curiosity as human civilization appeared to be powering up previously undetected technology. His species had seen this before. Primitive civilizations often had hidden defensive capabilities, a last futile gesture before accepting the inevitable. But something was different this time. The energy signatures weren't weapon systems powering up. They were transportation systems. The scale made no sense. The entire human civilization appeared to be impossible, Vexthor whispered, his crystalline form vibrating with shock. "They're not preparing to fight. They're preparing to leave." On Earth, Maya Chen addressed humanity through a global broadcast. "My fellow humans, today we face a moment our species has prepared for since we first looked to the stars and understood we might not be alone. The Aetherian Empire demands our submission, our tribute, our very sovereignty. They expect us to choose between submission and destruction, because those are the choices they understand. But humanity has always excelled at finding a third option." She paused, letting her words sink in. 300 years ago, our ancestors made a decision. They knew that somewhere out there, someone would eventually come to claim Earth. Rather than build weapons we couldn't hope to match against advanced civilizations, they chose a different path. Every skyscraper you've lived in, every transportation system you've used, every piece of infrastructure you've taken for granted, they're all part of something larger, something hidden in plain sight. The ground began to vibrate as massive machinery, disguised for centuries as ordinary human civilization, began to move. Cities didn't just have evacuation plans. They were evacuation plans, entire metropolitan areas designed to transform into starships at a moment's notice. We built our civilization like a seed, Maya continued, ready to take root somewhere else if needed. Every human child learns not just their neighborhood's evacuation procedures, but their role in the greater migration protocol. Every job, every position, every social structure, they're all designed to function both planet-side and in deep space. We are about to become what we have always trained to be, a civilization in motion. The Aetherian fleet watched in stunned silence as human cities began to change shape, buildings flowing like liquid metal, reforming into massive structures that defied their understanding of engineering. What they had dismissed as a primitive planetary civilization revealed itself to be something else entirely, a species that had built its entire existence around the ability to simply leave. To the Aetherian Empire, Maya's voice now addressed the alien fleet directly. We reject your terms, not through force of arms or futile resistance, but by simply choosing not to be where you expect us to be. Humanity's response to your demand for tribute is this: farewell. As the first wave of city ships began to rise from Earth's surface, their previously hidden quantum drives coming online, Maya allowed herself another small smile. The Aetherians had expected to find a civilization ready to be conquered. Instead, they found one that had spent centuries preparing to become nomads among the stars. The Exodus had begun. Humanity's greatest gambit. The choice to build an entire civilization that could simply walk away from conquest was about to be tested. And in the command center of his flagship, High Admiral Vexthor realized that the Aetherian Empire had just encountered something unprecedented. A species that had found a way to make itself unconquerable, not through superior weapons or defenses, but through superior imagination. The game of empires would never be quite the same again. The hidden protocol. High Admiral Vexthor's crystalline form pulsed with agitation as he reviewed the sensor data for the 12th time. The human exodus defied everything the Aetherian Empire knew about technological progression. Their civilization shouldn't have been capable of this. Yet the evidence was undeniable. They weren't just fleeing. They were executing the carefully choreographed dance that had clearly been rehearsed for generations. "Show me the orbital analysis again," he commanded. The holographic display shifted, revealing the intricate patterns of humanity's departure. Each city ship moved with precise coordination, their formations creating gravitational waves that somehow amplified their quantum drive's efficiency. Fascinating, isn't it? The voice came from a communication channel that hadn't existed moments before. Maya Chen's hologram appeared in the command center, her expression serene. "We wondered if you'd noticed the gravitational resonance pattern. It's something we discovered quite by accident during the early lunar trials." Vexthor's secondary crystalline matrices flashed with surprise. "You're still willing to communicate, even as you flee?" "Of course," Maya replied. "This isn't a rejection of dialogue, Admiral. It's a demonstration of perspective. Your empire sees the galaxy as territory to be claimed. We see it as an ocean to be navigated. Did you know that Earth once had nomadic cultures that could dismantle entire cities and move them across continents? We simply adapted that concept to work among the stars." In the space around Earth, the exodus continued with methodical precision. What had appeared to be orbital defense platforms revealed themselves as navigation buoys, creating a complex network of quantum tunneling points that the city ships used to maintain their perfect formation. "Your species planned this for centuries," Vexthor observed. "It wasn't a question." "From the moment we detected your empire's expansion patterns," Maya confirmed, "we knew someone would come eventually. The question was never if, but when. So we built our civilization around a simple principle. True freedom isn't about the ability to win conflicts, it's about the ability to choose not to participate in them at all." The Admiral's crystalline form shifted, a gesture that in his species indicated deep thought. "You've hidden your true technological level from us. From everyone." Maya's hologram smiled. "Not hidden. We simply presented it in a way that matched your expectations. Every piece of technology we're using now was visible on Earth's surface. You saw it exactly what was there. You just didn't understand what you were seeing. Our buildings weren't disguised ships. They were buildings designed to become ships. There's a subtle but important difference. In orbit, the first wave of city ships had already moved beyond Mars, their quantum drives leaving trails of displaced space-time that would make tracking them virtually impossible. Each vessel carried not just its human population, but entire ecosystems, manufacturing centers, and cultural institutions, civilization itself made mobile. Your empire expects resistance, Maya continued. You're prepared for defiance, for warfare, for submission. But what do you do when a civilization simply opts out? When they've built their entire existence around the ability to politely decline participation in your imperial system? Vexthor watched as another wave of city ships rose from Earth's surface. The precision was remarkable. They weren't just fleeing, they were systematically transferring an entire planetary civilization into space. You're challenging the very concept of territorial empire, he realized. We're offering an alternative, Maya corrected. Earth isn't our home, Admiral. Earth is where we practiced being human. Our true home is wherever we choose to be. Our cities aren't structures, they're seeds. Our civilization isn't a place, it's a process. The sensor displays showed something new. Massive structures emerging from beneath Earth's oceans. What the Aetherian Empire had dismissed as primitive underwater habitats were actually the largest of humanity's city ships, each one carrying millions of people and countless other species in self-contained biospheres. Did you ever wonder, Maya asked, why humans seem so obsessed with self-sufficiency in our space habitats? Why every colony, every station, was built to function independently? It wasn't paranoia. It was practice. For 3 centuries, every human child has grown up in an environment designed to become part of a greater exodus. Our artwork celebrates adaptation. Our literature explores transformation. Our games simulate coordination. We built an entire culture around the concept of peaceful departure. Vexthor's crystalline form resonated with a frequency that his subordinates recognize as profound disturbance. The implications were staggering. The Aetherian Empire had encountered species that fought, species that submitted, species that negotiated, but never one that had spent generations preparing to simply leave, taking their entire civilization with them. You're not just refusing to join our empire, he said. You're demonstrating that our entire model of galactic civilization is just one option among many. Now you understand, Maya replied. Your empire builds walls. We build wheels. You seek to expand through conquest. We expand through movement. You offer a choice between submission and destruction. We choose to demonstrate that there are always more choices than the ones offered. As if to emphasize her point, the second wave of city ships began their acceleration. Their formation was perfect, each vessel's quantum wake reinforcing the others, creating a cascading effect that would carry them beyond the Empire's reach with unprecedented efficiency. This isn't an exodus, Admiral, Maya said softly. This is an invitation to reconsider what civilization means. We leave behind not a defeated world, but a demonstration that peace doesn't always require submission. Sometimes it simply requires the wisdom to step aside and the courage to find another way. In the silence that followed her words, Vexthor watched as humanity rewrote the rules of galactic politics not through force of arms, but through the simple act of refusing to play by anyone else's rules. The hidden protocol wasn't just an evacuation plan. It was humanity's declaration that the greatest power isn't the ability to conquer, but the ability to choose one's own path among the stars. Breaking the chains. The news spread through the Aetherian Empire's territories like a quantum shockwave. A pre-FTL civilization had not only rejected imperial authority, but had revealed technological capabilities that rivaled or exceeded the Empire's own. More disturbing still, they had done it without firing a single shot. In the Imperial Palace on Aetheria Prime, the Council of Crystalline Minds convened an emergency session. High Admiral Vex Thor's report had caused unprecedented disruption in the usually stable thought matrices of the Empire's leadership. They were never primitive, Vex Thor explained to the assembled council, his form shifting through patterns of agitation. Every assessment we made of their civilization was based on what they wanted us to see. Their quantum technology wasn't hidden. It was integrated into their everyday existence in ways our analysis protocols weren't designed to recognize. First speaker Ixera, her crystalline form glowing with the deep purple of authority, interrupted. The implications extend beyond merely technological deception. Their entire social structure was engineered around this Exodus capability. Explain. Vex Thor activated a holographic display showing the continuing departure of Earth's city ships. Their education system trained every citizen in both planetary and space-based roles from childhood. Their economy was designed to function seamlessly whether on a planet or in transit. Even their entertainment and cultural practices reinforced the skills needed for coordinated mass migration. A civilization built like a serpent that can shed its skin. Second speaker Ralphon observed, their crystalline facets refracting light in contemplative patterns. But surely they cannot maintain cohesion during transit. The psychological stress alone. That's just it, Vex Thor interrupted, breaking protocol in his excitement. They're not stressed. Our empathic sensors indicate a population that is calm, focused, even excited. This isn't an emergency evacuation for them. It's the execution of a plan they've rehearsed their entire lives. In the space around Earth, the exodus continued with precision that bordered on artistic. Each wave of city ships moved in formations that created gravitational resonances, amplifying their drive's efficiency, while simultaneously making pursuit through their wake virtually impossible. The coordination required was staggering, suggesting levels of quantum computation far beyond what the Empire had believed possible for Earth's technological level. They're not just leaving, Vex Thor continued. They're demonstrating a completely different approach to civilizational advancement. While we built our empire through expansion and absorption, they built their civilization around the principle of ultimate mobility. The holographic display shifted to show the internal structure of one of the city ships. What appeared to be normal urban infrastructure was revealed as an intricate network of systems designed for both planetary and space-based operation. Buildings weren't just buildings. They were components of a greater whole, designed to function both independently and as part of a larger system. Their architects didn't just design structures, Vex Thor explained. They designed transformation protocols. Their engineers didn't just build cities. They built the components of vessels that could hide in plain sight as urban infrastructure. Every aspect of their civilization was designed with dual purpose. First speaker Ixera's crystalline form pulsed with the deep red of concern. The political implications are severe. Other civilizations will learn of this. The very foundation of imperial authority, the belief that resistance or submission are the only options, has been challenged. It's worse than that, second speaker Ralphon interjected. Our latest analysis suggests they've been seeding other star systems with automated terraforming systems for centuries. Systems we dismissed as natural phenomena were actually preparing the way for human migration. They didn't just plan an exodus. They planned colonization on a scale we hadn't imagined possible. The council chamber filled with the crystalline equivalent of murmurs as the implications became clear. The humans hadn't just rejected imperial authority. They had demonstrated a form of civilization that made traditional concepts of territorial control obsolete. In orbit around Earth, Maya Chen's hologram appeared again in Vex Thor's command center. Your sensors have probably detected our terraforming networks by now, she said without preamble. We want you to understand something crucial. We're not running away. We're demonstrating an alternative. Vex Thor's form shifted to indicate attention. An alternative to imperial governance. An alternative to the very concept of territorial empire, Maya corrected. Your empire sees the galaxy as a map to be colored in with your influence. We see it as an ocean of possibilities. You build walls to mark your territory. We build ships to explore new horizons. The Admiral watched as another wave of city ships engaged their drives, their formation creating patterns in space-time that his scientists were still struggling to understand. "You're changing the rules of galactic civilization," he observed. "No," Maya replied with a smile. "We're showing that the rules were never as fixed as everyone assumed. Your empire believes power comes from controlling territory. We believe it comes from the ability to choose where and how we live. You see our departure as an escape. We see it as an evolution." In the council chamber, the implications continued to ripple through the collective consciousness of the Empire's leadership. A civilization that could simply choose to leave, taking all its resources and knowledge with it, challenged the very foundations of imperial power. How do you control a population that has mastered the art of peaceful departure on a civilizational scale? "There's something else you should know," Maya's hologram continued. "We've detected other civilizations practicing variations of our approach. Not every species chooses to root themselves to planets or territories. The galaxy is vast, and there are more ways to exist among the stars than through conquest or submission." The revelation hit the Imperial Council like a gravitational wave. They hadn't just encountered one civilization that could opt out of their system of control. They had stumbled upon evidence that their entire model of galactic civilization might be just one option among many. As Earth's Exodus fleet continued its carefully choreographed departure, they left behind more than an emptied planet. They left a question that would echo through the crystalline minds of the Imperial Council. What is the value of an empire's power to control territory when faced with civilizations that have transcended the need for fixed territories altogether? Legacy of Stars. 3 standard months after Earth's exodus, the Aetherian Empire made a discovery that shook their understanding of human capabilities even further. A routine survey of a supposedly uninhabited system 40 light-years from Earth revealed signs of recent terraforming activity. But it wasn't the terraforming that caused the survey team's crystalline forms to pulse with shock. It was the method. "Impossible," Survey Commander Nexley whispered, her crystalline structure vibrating with disbelief. The sensor data showed a network of self-replicating machines systematically transforming the system's third planet. The technology was elegant, efficient, and unmistakably human in origin. They've been here for decades. The implications were staggering. While humanity had appeared to be taking its first steps into their solar system, they had actually been quietly preparing multiple worlds for colonization. The Empire hadn't just miscalculated human technological capabilities, they had fundamentally misunderstood the scale of human planning. Back in the Imperial Palace, High Admiral Vex Thor presented the findings to an increasingly unsettled council of crystalline minds. "The humans didn't just prepare for Exodus," he explained, his form shifting through patterns of excitement and concern. "They prepared for diaspora. Each terraforming site shows evidence of different environmental adaptations, suggesting they plan to see multiple varieties of human civilization." First Speaker Ixera's crystalline form darkened with contemplation. "Show me their pattern of expansion." The holographic display revealed a network of systems, each containing planets in various stages of transformation. The pattern wasn't random. It formed a complex three-dimensional web that seemed to follow some underlying logic the Imperial scientists couldn't quite grasp. "We've detected 27 systems so far," Vex Thor reported. "Each one shows evidence of decades of preparation. The humans didn't just plan for survival. They planned for thriving. And there's something else." He hesitated, his crystalline form flickering with uncertainty. "Speak," Ixera commanded. "The terraforming systems are teaching us." Each site contains easily accessible data about the transformation process. It's as if they want us to understand their methods. In the void between stars, Maya Chen's hologram appeared once again in Vex Thor's personal quarters. She had maintained sporadic contact since the Exodus, each conversation revealing new layers of human foresight. "You found our gardens," she said without preamble. We wondered how long it would take. Vexthor's form pulsed with barely contained questions. You left the data deliberately accessible. Why? Because the galaxy doesn't belong to any one species or empire, Maya replied. We believe knowledge, like civilization itself, should be free to move and adapt. Those terraforming systems aren't just transforming planets, they're teaching points. The Admiral's crystalline structure shifted as he processed this. You're sharing technology that took your species centuries to develop. Maya's hologram smiled. What we're sharing is perspective. The technology is fascinating, yes, but the real lesson is in the approach. We're demonstrating that planets aren't just resources to be claimed, they're possibilities to be cultivated. In another sector of space, an Imperial survey team made an even more startling discovery. What they had initially dismissed as a rogue planetoid was actually a massive human construction. A seed ship designed to carry the essence of Earth's biosphere to suitable worlds. They didn't just plan for human survival. Second speaker Ralph Vaughn observed when the report reached the Council. They planned for the survival and propagation of Earth's entire biological heritage. The scope of their preparation is humbling. The holographic displays in the Council chamber showed the latest analysis of human expansion patterns. Each terraformed system was positioned to support the others, creating a network of potential habitats that could sustain not just human life, but entire Earth-like biospheres. There's an elegance to their strategy that we fail to appreciate, Vexthor admitted. While we focused on building an empire through control, they built a civilization designed for perpetual adaptation. Every human colony ship carries within it the capacity to become a new center of civilization, independent yet connected through shared knowledge and purpose. Maya's hologram appeared in the Council chamber itself, a technological feat that left the crystalline minds buzzing with surprise. Your empire sees the galaxy as territory to be conquered, she said. We see it as a garden to be tended. Your power comes from controlling worlds. Ours comes from nurturing them. The Council chamber filled with the crystalline equivalent of stunned silence as Maya continued. Those terraforming systems you've discovered, they're not just transforming planets. They're transforming the very idea of what colonization means. We're not claiming worlds. We're preparing them to support life in all its diversity. First speaker Ixera's form shifted through complex patterns of realization. You're creating a network of life-sustaining systems that any spacefaring civilization could potentially inhabit. Precisely, Maya confirmed. The galaxy is vast enough for many approaches to civilization. We chose to make our mark not by conquering worlds, but by increasing the number of worlds that can support life. It's a different kind of legacy, one measured not in territory controlled, but in possibilities created. As the Imperial Council grappled with these revelations, reports continued to arrive from survey teams throughout the sector. Each discovered system revealed new aspects of human preparation and ingenuity. They hadn't just planned an exodus, they had engineered a transformation of galactic civilization itself. Your empire will have to adapt, Maya observed. The age of simple conquest and submission is ending. We're demonstrating that there are other ways to extend influence across the stars, through knowledge shared, through possibilities created, through life itself encouraged to flourish in new forms and places. Vexthor, watching the ongoing discoveries with a mix of awe and professional appreciation, finally understood. The humans hadn't just rejected imperial authority. They had transcended it, creating a form of civilization that measured success not in worlds controlled, but in worlds transformed, not in species subjugated, but in life propagated. The legacy of stars, as the Council would later name this period, wasn't just about humanity's exodus. It was about the moment when one species chose to change the rules of galactic civilization, not through force of arms, but through the patient seeding of new possibilities across the cosmic deep. The price of freedom. One standard year after Earth's exodus, the Aetherian Empire faced its first internal revolution. Not a revolution of weapons and warfare, but one of ideas. On a dozen worlds within imperial space, populations began transforming their cities, adapting human designs that had been freely shared through the terraforming databases. In the Imperial Palace, the Council of Crystalline Minds convened what would later be known as the Session of Transformation. First Speaker Ixera's form pulsed with the complex patterns of profound change as she addressed the assembled leadership. "We stand at a crossroads," she began, her crystalline structure refracting light in patterns that conveyed both uncertainty and possibility. "The humans have not defeated us through force. They have done something far more profound. They have demonstrated that our entire concept of civilization may be unnecessarily limited." High Admiral Vexthor, recently promoted to Imperial Strategist, activated a holographic display showing the spread of human-inspired adaptations throughout the galaxy. "The movement has already begun," he reported. 3 previously resistant species have requested Imperial withdrawal, not to claim independence, but to implement their own versions of mobile civilization. The display shifted to show one such world, where city-sized structures were already beginning their transformation. The local population had adapted human designs to their own unique biology and cultural needs, creating something entirely new yet clearly inspired by Earth's example. More significantly, Vexthor continued, "We've detected evidence that this concept of civilizational mobility isn't entirely new. The humans appear to have discovered and built upon ideas that existed in fragments throughout galactic history. They didn't invent this approach. They perfected it, and more importantly, they proved it could work on a vast scale." Maya Chen's hologram appeared in the council chamber, no longer an unexpected sight. Over the past year, these conversations had become increasingly common as both civilizations struggled to understand their new relationship. "We wondered when you'd discover the historical precedents," she said. "Earth wasn't the first world to choose mobility over submission. We simply had the advantage of time to prepare and the determination to implement it completely." Second Speaker Ralphon's crystalline form shifted in what had become recognizable as curiosity. "Yet you share this knowledge freely. Why reveal the very techniques that make you ungovernable?" Maya's hologram smiled. "Because true freedom isn't about being ungovernable. It's about discovering that governance itself can take many forms. We didn't leave to escape. We left to demonstrate possibility." Throughout imperial space, the evidence of this demonstration was becoming impossible to ignore. The human exodus had sparked what sociologists were calling the Great Reimagining, a fundamental shift in how civilizations viewed their relationship with territory and authority. "Your empire faces a choice," Maya continued. "You can attempt to suppress this knowledge, to maintain the old model of territorial control and forced submission. Or you can evolve, becoming something new, perhaps a network of civilizations bound not by force, but by the exchange of knowledge and the cultivation of life." In the silence that followed her words, First Speaker Ixera's form pulsed with the deep blues of profound decision. "We have spent millennia building an empire based on the assumption that civilization requires fixed territory and hierarchical control. Yet in a single year, we have watched dozens of worlds begin to transform themselves, not in rejection of civilization, but in pursuit of a more fluid form of it." The holographic displays showed the spread of transformation across the galaxy. Some civilizations were adapting human designs directly, while others were developing their own unique approaches to mobility. The galaxy was becoming not just a space of fixed empires, but a flowing river of civilizations in constant, peaceful motion. "There is a price to this freedom," Vexthor observed. "The old certainties of power and control are being replaced by something more complex, more demanding of wisdom." Maya nodded. "The price of freedom is the responsibility to use it wisely. We didn't share our knowledge to destroy the empire, but to show that imperial control is just one way to organize galactic civilization. There are others, perhaps better ones." Throughout the galaxy, the changes continued to ripple outward. The human diaspora had sparked not chaos, as many had feared, but a renaissance of civilizational diversity. Species that had existed under imperial control for millennia began to rediscover their own ancient traditions of mobility and adaptation. "Your people have given us a gift," Ixera admitted, her crystalline form glowing with the whites and golds of new understanding. "But it is a difficult one to accept. The price of this freedom is the loss of comfortable certainties." "The most valuable freedoms often are," Maya replied. "But consider what you gain. A galaxy where civilizations can coexist not through forced harmony, but through the natural balance of movement and adaptation. Where power comes not from controlling territory, but from cultivating knowledge and life." The council chamber filled with the crystalline harmonics of deep contemplation as the Empire's leadership faced their moment of choice. The old ways of power through control were becoming obsolete, replaced by something more fluid, more alive. "We do not offer submission or resistance," Maya concluded. "We offer transformation. The price of freedom isn't paid in tribute or blood. It's paid in the courage to imagine and implement new ways of existing among the stars." In the years that followed, the Aetherian Empire would indeed transform, evolving from a force of conquest into something unprecedented, a network of civilizations bound together not by force, but by the exchange of knowledge and the shared project of spreading life throughout the galaxy. The price of freedom, they discovered, was worth paying. For in choosing to adapt rather than suppress, to learn rather than control, they found something greater than empire. They found purpose. The galaxy became not a territory to be conquered, but a garden to be tended, where countless civilizations could grow and transform in their own unique ways. And somewhere among the stars, humanity's diaspora continued, not in flight, but in joyous exploration, leaving behind them not conquered worlds, but possibilities. Seeds of change planted in the cosmic deep, waiting to bloom in their own time and way.